was already, like, mentally taxed, and I just don't think that I wanted to remember that again. So I did choose general anesthesia. When they came to take me to the operating room, I was obviously very upset still and panicking still. They were very kind. They said, when we get in there, there's going to be a lot of people who are going to talk to you at the same time, and they're all going to be doing different things. And I understand how that works. But it was literally like I got in there, I laid down on the bed, people were slapping the stickers for the monitors on my body. They were trying to ask me questions. They were asking me about my kids. They were asking me about, they asked me if I was a respiratory therapist, and I said I wasn't quite that cool. I'm just a paramedic that works on a respiratory therapy team. And they were talking to me about that, and I promise it was like maybe 3 minutes that I had from the time that I had walked into that room and laid down on the bed, that they were like, okay, we're gonna go to sleep. And the lady was shoving a mask on my face, and I remember the mask being on my face, which, if you're not familiar with it, if you know what an ambu bag is, it's like a blue resuscitation bag that you would see EMS or like hospitals use. They do what's called like bagging up a patient before they put them under, to like hyperoxygenate them while they prepare them to be intubated. She was trying to tell me to take deep breaths while I was going to sleep, and I was so upset that I just couldn't. I was just like, that's what I remember, and that's like the last thing that I remember. I had always been so concerned about my babies doing okay during me being like sedated, and they made it very clear from the very beginning, like the total amount of time that I would have to be intubated, and like under, like the procedure would last like 20 to 30 minutes max. And I think that was another thing that played into me being okay with doing it this way, was that it was such a short amount of time. But I was always very, very concerned about the way, since I don't have a good history with anesthesia, like how would the babies inside of me that depend on me do with it? And so they basically promised that they would have fetal heart monitors ready to go when I woke up, so that I could hear the baby's heartbeats. And when I woke up, I remember it being instant, and they were like, okay, we're here. And they had put me in, like post-op at this point. They had taken me to a different room. They're like, okay, we're here. And they had immediately like put the heart monitors on my stomach. There were 2 nurses that did this, and found the heartbeats for me to hear, I was honestly very thankful that they remembered what they had told me, because I know it's really easy to forget, in the grand scheme of things, but they kept their word, and that meant a lot to me. I just remember like feeling like burning, and I felt like I needed to pee really bad, and I like kept saying that, and I was crying still. And I kept like trying to wipe my face, and they kept telling me not to do that, because when you're waking up from anesthesia, like they were like, you're gonna scratch your corneas. But I kept like trying to wipe my face, and they were like, no, and I was like, okay. But I kept feeling like I needed to pee, and I guess he had to like straight cath me to drain my bladder a couple times during the procedure, which led to that feeling, I guess. And they tried like using a bedpan underneath me while I was there, but like actually in reality it took me like hours to be able to pee again, which goes to show, like I said, I don't recover well from procedures like this. My body doesn't, but I will say this was much better than the other option, I believe. I essentially had from like 4 until 8 to need to go to the bathroom again, like, before they would have to straight cath me to try to empty my bladder again, and I think it was like 7:45 before I was even able to, and I tried like 3 times. So that was interesting.